The following program is brought to you by the Adopt a Stream Foundation.
Do you ever think about streams, how they work? Did you know that the area around a stream is called a watershed? Well, watersheds are very important because they're found almost everywhere on the face of the earth and they affect all of us. Without watersheds, we wouldn't have any streams. So you're probably thinking, boy, I wish I knew more about streams and watersheds. Well, what a coincidence, because this show is about. Hey, enough with the water in the face, okay?
And now, time for another episode of The Stream Keeper with your host, Bill Nye, the Science Guy.
Yep, watersheds. By the time we're through with you, you'll know all you need to know all you need to know, unless you want to know more. And when you think you know enough, maybe, just maybe, you want to become a stream keeper. Being a stream keeper, that's hip. It's an old British idea. Yes, dates back to old England when they had stream keepers to make sure streams were in good shape. You know, they kept the banks clean, monitored wildlife, and made sure the plants were happy. They were stream keepers. Well, lo and behold, it turns out we could use a few stream keepers around today. And it's really not that hard to learn to become one. It's kind of fun. So what, there are like 3 you need to know to become a stream keeper. 1, you have to investigate. You want to know all about your stream and the surrounding watershed. You want to know the stream's history. You want to learn the land use plans. You want to learn about all the animals and how they fit in. It's really a lot to know. Next, you've got to take a closer look by doing an inventory of its physical and biological condition, and then continuing to monitor its health. Is your stream healthy or sick? You really need to know, okay? And the last step, you take action. If your stream is broken, you fix it. If it's not broken, you keep it that way. Either way can be quite a challenge. I mean, if there's something with your stream, you need to make changes to improve things. But an even greater challenge can be keeping a stream that's in good shape, particularly the way we humans can mess things up. You with me here? So, investigate, inventory and monitor, and take action. That's what being a stream keeper is all about. And as I said, it's really not that tough. Well, you ready? Let's get started. Now, tell you what. Before we get started, let's do... Huh? Okay. Before we do lunch, are you sure you know where streams come from? Well, they come from watersheds. Now, are you sure you know what a watershed is? Sorry, this is not a watershed. Watershed? Nope, this isn't a watershed either. But you guys keep looking. I'll catch up with you later. This is a watershed. Well, actually, it's bungee jumping. And today we've dived to the very lowest part of this section of the watershed, namely the river. Isn't this cool? A watershed is a region that is drained by a stream, river, or other body of water. It's nature's way of dealing with moisture, and it's a pretty simple concept. Watersheds are part of that water cycle thing, the hydrological cycle. Now, the water cycle starts with energy from the sun, and that heats up oceans, lakes, and streams and makes the water there evaporate, turn into a vapor. And that vapor works its way up into the sky and cools into tiny liquid drops we call clouds. Clouds, right. And when they get big and heavy enough, what do you get? Precipitation, rain, snow, sleet, or hail, and where does that fall? Well, it falls into water, and that's where streams come from. They come from the good old water cycle. Evaporation, condensation, precipitation into a watershed, and you get a stream, huh? Not bad. We're at the top of 2 watersheds. You look over here, that's one watershed. That bright strip on the horizon is the ocean, by the way. Water goes down there into the sea. Now, over here, we have another watershed. Oh, that's a helicopter. That's how we got up here. That's a glacier. It's finding its way to the sea by another route. 2 watersheds. The water comes down, goes 2 different directions. Pretty cool, huh? Just kidding. Funny joke. Just kidding. And speaking of mountains, this is the Continental Divide. And these are the Rocky Mountains. I guess I'm standing right about New Mexico. Anyway, they run all the way from Alaska, which is normally up there, to Mexico. And the Continental Divide means that all the water that falls on this side flows east to the Atlantic Ocean and Gulf of Mexico. And virtually all the water that falls on this side flows west to the Pacific Ocean. Now, these are watersheds on the grandest scale, covering hundreds of thousands of square miles. But you know something? Even the largest watersheds on Earth are just of smaller watersheds. Huh? There can be rural watersheds and urban watersheds, desert watersheds, and rainforest watersheds. As a matter of fact, your home, my home, everyone's home is part of one watershed or another. Okay, that's on the back end. Care about that. It's 10% tops or it's no deal. Now, don't silt me, man. So you think you know what a watershed is? It's the area around a stream that flows into a lake, a river, or the ocean. That's great. You have an A so far. But now the next question. How do they work? Have you ever heard of a river continuum? It means that moisture collects in a watershed and forms small streams, which flow into medium-sized streams, and those flow into large streams, and so on. Now, because this is the way the Earth's plumbing works, every stream, from the very biggest to the very small, has to be kept as healthy as possible. If even one stream is destroyed, in a way, it messes with the whole system. Whew. Now let's have lunch.
Learn to scuba the Skip way at Skip School of Scuba. With Skip's patented Pay Now, Learn Now technique, you'll be underwater in no time.
You're seeing a young lady here.
Learn how to wear a mask and snorkel. Why that little ball doesn't work.
But I guess they never figured out what would happen if the diver turned upside down.
And how to look graceful under the water. When you need to scuba, scuba the Skip way at Skip School of Scuba Diving. Corner of Estuary and Wetland Drive. Skip School of Scuba.
Now that you know what a watershed is, you remember the 3 steps to becoming keeper? 1, investigate. 2, inventory and monitor. 3, take action. Do something. That's his nest. And you don't have to be some big-time scientist like me to do this stuff either. Anybody can be a stream keeper.
This is our yearly creek cleanup number 9.
Like this anybody. Meet Brandon King.
We're going to clean up the creek and around the bed, but don't get in the creek because it's not good for the fish. Your big feet will hurt the little baby fish. Okay? 1, 2, 3. Charge! Be real careful when you pick up. Watch out for glass and plastic and any of those sharp items. 9 years ago, it was essentially a dump. It was the community dump where you would come down here in the middle of the night at 7 in the morning, early hours, and you could just back up wherever you wanted to and dump. Well, the kids are the stream program. They're the kids that have educated the community and the adults and let them know about Pigeon Creek. Well, the first thing we did was we investigated the watershed and our stream, and from there we found the information we needed to go on from there and develop a plan to work with our creek and watershed. At that point, we went on to monitoring it, and if needed be, we took action. Anybody can be a stream keeper, and the more stream keepers we have, the better it's going to be.
Okay, step 1. Investigate. Find out all you can about your stream and its watershed. Its history. Who owns property there? What land use plans there might be? What animals live there? Stuff like that. A good place to start is the library. Look for newspaper clippings, maps, even books on your stream and its watershed. Try City Hall and the assessor's office to find out who owns the land. Stop by the local parks. They may have old documents that show what the area used to look like.
We're looking at an aerial of the Lake Rossiter area, and this is a list of the ownership by lots.
If you really feel adventuresome, you could also check with the planning department to see what the land use plans are. And don't forget to call the local fish and game departments to see what animals are in or near your stream. You'd be surprised what you might find.
Raccoons, trout, deer, deer, weasel, insects, scooters, fish.
And when you're doing your investigating, you want to check the geology and geography of the watershed. For example, how deep is a stream? I'm stuck. For example, in the mountains, a watershed can be steep and rocky with fast-moving water, rapids. That's where the watershed is draining very fast. Further down, when the stream joins with others, it'll widen out. Here the land isn't so steep and the rocks are smaller because they've been in the river longer and they're worn. A good way to learn about the geography of a watershed is by looking at a topographical map, by learning to read these lines. It's kind of like your knuckles. Here, make a fist. See, you draw lines on the knuckles, and the high part, well, that represents the high part of a watershed. And the low part, well, that stream would flow. That would be the low part of a watershed. Now, flatten your hand out. See? It's just like a topographical map. Where the lines are close together, well, that's the steep part. Ooh. Where the lines are far apart, well, that's the flat part. Ah, okay? Even the health of a stream can change from one end to another. There can be effects from logging, from development. There can be pollution from streets, pollution from animal pastures, pollution from yard fertilizers and pesticides, pollution from pet waste. It goes on and on. Concrete seems to have a profound impact on streams.
Well, I'm going to vote for it because I like it there. I think it's so good.
Investigate. Take pictures, maps of each section of your stream. Learn to recognize how streams and watersheds can be impacted. And by the time you're done, you'll have a pretty good picture of what's in your stream and its surrounding watershed.
Well, I thought the mayflies...
Damselflies. That's a damselfly, actually.
Which leads me to my next step. You have to monitor the health of your stream and watershed. This is one of my... It's a blast, and it sure beats watching TV. Well, not all TV, to be sure, but a lot of it.
Sarah, how about you taking the pole and measuring the width of the stream?
And don't worry about needing to be some high-tech hydrologist to monitor your stream. These kids are learning how to monitor the health of their streams.
What we're going to do is we're going to test the pH. And really, you have to slowly drop it, okay? And do one at a time really slow. 1,
It's really pretty simple.
2.
All you do is stuff like measure the depth, check the temperature, check the oxygen content, measure pH. That's acid, like is this in the water or what?
But that's okay. Now, the deal here is that you don't want to get any air bubbles. Okay, now, can you hold it with your glove and go like that? Can anyone here tell me why we need oxygen in the water?
If there wasn't oxygen in the water, there'd be living life in the water.
Exactly. It's not extraordinary, but it is excellent water. And it actually was extraordinary water last year.
Here's a fun monitoring activity. Measure the velocity of a stream flow. It gives us an idea of how much water is flowing at any given time. Something that's very important for us and our finny friends. What? What?
Okay, and now we're going to lift up and pray for some insects.
Another part of monitoring the health of a stream is to look at the macroinvertebrate population.
Look very carefully.
What you say? Macroinvertebrate.
Does anyone know what this is?
Little creatures without a spine. The creepy crawlers. And it turns out they're not so creepy after all.
Isn't this amazing? You think there's nothing there and suddenly life appears?
They're extremely important biological indicators of your stream's health.
What I've learned about insects is pretty amazing because certain insects are intolerant to pollution. So if you can identify what kind of insects are in the water, then you know whether the water is being polluted or not. And so you can really have all these different factors to determine if you have a healthy environment.
Okay, keep the net down so all the bugs go into that little hole in the net there.
This may look like fun to you, but these folks are doing some serious research. We've placed a net downstream, and these stream keepers are churning up the underwater insects and other creatures in front of the net. They flow downstream and are caught, collected, and sorted high-tech macroinvertebrate sorting devices. That's MSDs to the scientists and government agencies who pay $500 a piece for them. Or you can use ice cube trays, ICTs. We'll sell them to you for $450 a piece. That's $50 skimmed right off the top. Watch for the 1-800 number. Of course, some people have been known to find ICTs as low as 99 cents. See, there's a stovefly and a mayfly and a caddisfly. It turns out that insects like those and the water penny beetle and the right-handed snail cannot stand pollution. We say they're pollution intolerant. So if you see lots of critters like these in your stream, I mean, we're talking species diversity here, then chances are your stream is pretty healthy.
Had 8 parts per million of oxygen.
Other animals like worms and leeches are more tolerant of pollution. If they're all you find, your stream may have a problem. If there's nothing at all, then you can bet there's a problem. I mean, like, if your stream has no underwater, then chances are it won't have any underwater fish either. Remember to look beyond just the babbling brook to what? That's right, the surrounding watershed. What's going on in the surrounding watershed is key. Like maybe somebody's doing something to wipe it out or run your stream underground. And this is all inventory and monitoring. You've got to do it regularly. It's very important.
You might want to add this to your data form.
And keep meticulous records of the information you gather and how you collected it, because this information is now data. Now your data have to be factual and serious. You can't say, well, a stream's in trouble. You got to have the facts. You're a stream keeper. Your facts have to be factual. You with me? Because let's say you've collected the data and you found your stream seems to be in trouble. Maybe there's toxic waste in the soil and groundwater. The wetlands have been filled. There could be automobile waste fluid, pesticides, and the whole place has been diked, drained, dumped on. The macroinvertebrates are disappearing. The fish are few and far between. What do you do? What do you do? Well, you do step 3. You take action. Meet Deborah Stetcher, chief streamkeeper of Picnic Point Creek.
When my neighbors and I decided to clean up this mess down here, we had no idea what job that we had in store for us. Not only have tires from bicycles, somebody's living room furniture, rotten old pieces of lumber, but they have ruined a very beautiful area. It took 4 weeks for us to clean up this mess. It took action on all parts. We had the schools to educate. We had to go door to door to the people that lived in the watershed of this particular creek. We had to go into land use hearings to testify that we were having a problem in the area. We had to meet with the Parks Department. And finally, together with all these different people, we were able to come up with some sort of permanent solution to having people back up and dump just a few feet from a creek that have viable trout. You've got to be willing to stand up and fight for what you know is right. This isn't right.
Step 3 is to take, you've done the investigation, you've done the monitoring and inventory, and now it's time to do something, to take action. But before you take action, you got to know the rules, and you got to know the rulers, and you got to know how the rules are played, and when they're played, because there's a lot of politics involved in taking care of streams. What I mean is, you've got to get your data to a place they'll do the most good. It could be as simple as just telling your neighbors about a problem they didn't know about and asking them to help out.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Or it may be kind of complex, like making a recommendation to a planning commission or city or county council on how land is developed surrounding your stream. Streamkeepers with good information, with good data, can help the government make the right decisions. Now remember, streamkeepers, the data you collect are extremely important. Everything that lives along the stream is depending on you. We're talking about vegetation, insects, fish, wild people. We're all connected, remember?
Mr. Nye, over here.
Mr. Nye.
Now, you may want to keep these data in your hip pocket. I mean, later on, people like radio, television, and newspaper flat-foot reporter types might want to have a look at it. I mean, if you keep your data carefully, you could change the course of history, at least for your water stream. Yeah, I've got the answer to those questions right here in my data. Whoa! Start a group of stream keepers in your own neighborhood. Get civic groups, your friends, neighbors, everyone that lives in the watershed around your stream involved. Remember, anyone can be a stream keeper.
Learn to ski at Bob's School of Water Skiing. With Bob's patented techniques, you'll be out of the water and on your skis in no time. You'll also learn rope tricks, skiing do's and don'ts, And Doc starts with a bathing cap. At Bob's School of Water Skiing, get the latest techniques with lots and lots of laughs.
I won't let you go, really.
Learn to ski the Bob way. Bob's School of Water Skiing.
Now, you might be thinking, in order to protect watersheds, you need a lot of people. They're in a united front. Like one person couldn't just wait out there by himself and make any difference. Well, think again, my esteemed colleague, because there's a lot each and every one of us can do to help protect streams and watersheds. Now, most of the damage that's done to streams is from us humans. I mean, once in a while it's nature's, but it's usually humans. So if all this damage is from us humans, what are we humans going to do to improve things? Well, first, recycle everything you can. I mean, that's the no-brainer, right? Next, plant native vegetation along stream banks. Fence in livestock, cows, horses, sheep, all are a problem for streams and rivers. Working to improve logging along a stream and maybe being a little cognizant of your actions when you're in the woods can help out a lot. Here's an idea. Park your car and ride a bike, or take a bus or a train. See, almost everything to do with automobiles, the roads, the fuel, the lubricants, the antifreeze, the little particles of rubber that rub off of tires, all that stuff has a tremendous impact on streams and watersheds. Like the pollutants that run down this storm drain. They go untreated. That stuff ends up in a body of water someplace. A body of water I want to go swimming in someday, huh? Hey, I'm not saying throw the car away. I'm not saying rip up all the concrete. I'm saying as you step on the gas, just think of the impact millions of cars are making. We got cars, agriculture, housing and development, recreation, timber harvesting. We got all that stuff. You could think it's nature. You're kidding yourself. It's we humans. And it's possible to have people and development and forest products and farms and ranches and recreation and still have decent streams. You know it's possible. We got to change our lifestyle. Build up instead of out. Got to stop that urban sprawl. It could happen. Okay, off my soapbox. Nope, let me get back on my soapbox and tell you what else you can do to help preserve streams and watersheds. Well, we can reforest, replant, revegetate, restock, renew. You can just get out there and re-clean, just re-something. I mean, it sure beats sitting around the house. Take these guys, for example.
Well, there's a lot of satisfaction to get 4 tons of garbage out of a stream. I mean, just to know that I can make something look really beautiful, that it used to be beautiful, is satisfying.
It's important to be a stream keeper because it's a positive action we can take that does make a difference, not just short term, but long term. I believe this is very important because as a young child, my father took me fishing to Pigeon Creek and out in the Sound, and I was able to see this stream run red with salmon, and I think it's important for the children of the future to see that too. You have the power to make changes. You have the power of streams and watersheds. Become a stream keeper. Now, what are the 3 steps to becoming a stream keeper? 1, investigate. 2, inventory and monitor. 3, take action. Do something! So now you know about all you need to know what you become a stream keeper. But what if you want to know more? Well, find a stream and do some investigating. Do some inventory and monitoring. And then lastly, take action. You know, get together with a bunch of friends and do something. Become a stream keeper. It's fun. See, rivers and streams are so cool. We got them. This whole thing is very important. Whew. Well, I got another stream to rescue. See you around the watershed.
Hey, who was that guy anyway? The stream keeper.